let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage Company does mortgages, all sorts of mortgages, whether it's USDA, VA, FHA, conventional loans. But the thing with them is they do such a good job of listening. They listen to their customers, their clients, and understand what their needs are and their goals are with financing a house. And they work with multiple banks to match you with the best possible solution. Remember, with a mortgage broker like Eagle Mortgage, they're not beholden to one bank, and so they can find the best choice for you. You can find them in person, 114th and Davenport, or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Guys, for the news, we have to start off with the Riverfront Parks.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Brad has a first-hand account. You've been there for a week.
Yeah, it feels like it. I was there for over 8 hours yesterday taking pictures for Mecca, and it's an awesome park. I mean, really everything feels bigger in person than the renderings made it look out to be, and the crowd was fantastic last night.
Was it packed?
Yeah, it was. I left at 10 o'clock, and I think that was the busiest the park was the whole day. It was just people kept coming and coming.
10 o'clock at night?
At night, yeah.
It built and built and built as the day went on.
Lighting. You know, what I haven't seen on yet is those big light boxes that shoot graphics. No, this is more
the Gene Leahy.
The Gene Leahy. Have you seen those on?
Yeah, they were on
is
the
it
opening
cool?
weekend, and
Yeah, I
do it
saw
from
those
time to time.
last year when they had the opening weekend and all that down there. They were pretty cool. They don't run them all the time. It's just special occasions. But anyway,
The whole 90 acres is open now.
Yeah, the two new parks, Heartland of America Park and Lewis and Clark Landing, opened yesterday. I took about hour and a half yesterday afternoon and walked through both of them, saw everything. And guys, I will say, and it'll be interesting, Brad, since you spent so much time there to hear what you think. But from my perspective, a few things jumped out. One, the lakefront, the new lakefront, which is basically like a sidewalk that runs along a big chunk of the Heartland of America Fountain Lake. Very cool, very clean, nice sight lines. Another thing that jumped out, the landscaping and including a lot of stone and rock, very, very impressive. Because unlike Gene Leahy Mall, Heartland of America Park has tremendous grade changes and a lot of topography in it. The size of the kids' playground on Lewis and Clark Landing, and then the cool factor of the urban beach on Lewis and Clark Landing, all very impressive.
Describe that.
I'll let Brad describe a little more because he's been down there so much.
It's almost like a giant sandbox. But one of the quotes I heard last night from someone that came and said, when they first said urban beach, I thought, oh, that's lame. What are they going to do on an urban beach? But once you actually saw kids playing in the sand last night, and there was a couple out having a picnic, they brought their big beach blanket and they had a picnic on the beach. It looks really cool.
And then, go ahead, Trent.
How about that cantilevered part that looks like fish scales?
That's like everyone makes a beeline for that. They get in the park and you just see a straight line back to that. It's a really neat view. It hangs out almost to the river, but it has a great view of the river. Last night I was up there, a barge came down the river. Haven't seen a barge on the Missouri River in a long time.
Architecturally, it just looks really neat.
Yeah.
They call it the Farnham Pier. And that was the thing. Remember, they brought in that massive crane, and the whole thing was assembled off-site and lifted into that spot by that crane. It's really, really cool.
Okay, the skate ribbon. Now, I haven't seen inline skates or quads, as they call them, skaters around town for years. It seems like roller skating hasn't been real popular now. So were there many skaters on there?
Yeah, there was. I almost feel like they brought some roller skating ringers in because there were people doing all if you think of the stereotypical roller skating and they're doing their crossing their legs and bouncing up and down and all that. I mean, there was a lot of people out there.
I think people saw the opportunity of a brand new place to skate, but I think the ice skating is going to be a heck of a lot more popular.
Yeah. They rent skates, but you saw a lot of people bringing their own too.
I think another cool factor was the outdoor patio for Fig, the restaurant that is part of the Kiewit Luminarium. First of all, it's very, very big. Yesterday, they had 2 portable bars set up there, and with everything else going on, it was just a real nice vibe. When I was walking, I grabbed a beverage there, because it was hot and windy yesterday. And I remembered thinking, I wish I had more time. I would have just sit here and kind of take it all in.
You know what's interesting about this? It's up to $400 million or something, this park, right?
If you count the Kiewit Luminarium.
Right. Okay. So the benefactors, the stakeholders, the usual names that you see, you don't hear their names associated with this park. It's like they're so quiet. These people are giving tens of millions of dollars and giving back to Omaha and doing something they didn't have to do, regardless of how much money they have. It's pretty neat how quiet they are, and they're letting the Omaha's Riverfront Park be itself.
They're
not naming it really.
Yeah, there's one real nice
Tribute
to them in the Gene Leahy Mall with all their names on it. But other than that,
rightfully
that's about
so.
it.
Rightfully
Yeah.
so.
You cannot.
All right, give us $30 million and you can put your name on this stone. Okay.
You cannot imagine what, if you haven't been down there, folks, you cannot imagine what their generosity has created. I mean, I'm a pretty well-traveled guy. I've been to a lot of downtown areas, and what we have down there, you just don't see anywhere else. I mean, not only the scope of the park, but the cleanliness of it, the fact that
you see people picking up trash,
the fact that Mecca is managing it. How many parks are actively managed and programmed by an organization that manages stadiums and convention centers? Everything about it, first class, smash hit, home run. The amount of activity this thing will generate in the downtown area for years to come probably can't be overstated. Throw in the streetcar coming in a few years. You're just going to see more and more and more dense real estate development in around these parks in the downtown area.
So you always hear about the skate ribbon and the Farnham Pier, but there's so many little things that don't get attention. There's 2 bocce courts there that are probably the nicest bocce courts in the entire Midwest. Huge picnic tables. They have a fire pit next to the bocce court. They have an awning for shade. And then you go across. The cool thing is these paths in this park like kind of point towards each different thing. So right past the skating ribbon that people don't, I didn't see anyone using it yesterday, but they have 2 horseshoe pits. When's the last time you've seen a horseshoe pit? And then you go down behind the Luminarium, there's 6 volleyball courts. They were having a volleyball tournament last night. There was a ton of people down there at the volleyball. And then still under construction, there's a pickleball court. So there's a lot of activities.
So much free entertainment for everybody.
And I think you can, for every single activity there, Mecca provides or has the game cart that has the necessary balls or horseshoes or whatever to go with them.
That's why the programming and management part of it's so important. Trenton, you'll love this. The name of the urban beach has its own name. Very cool.
What is it?
Nebraska Beach. I think that's kind of neat. They call it Nebraska Beach. Of course, you wouldn't wade into the water at Nebraska
Probably wouldn't
Beach.
want Omaha Beach.
Yeah, that has a different name and connotation altogether. All right, well, we have a couple other news items we want to get to today. First of all, we go down to Offutt Air Force Base. This is kind of a cool story. We've got some big buildings going in that area. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has awarded Turner Construction, which is one of our Grow Omaha sponsors, a $389 million contract to construct 2 buildings at the base. These are part of a project to elevate everything in the base, buildings and all of that, above the 100-year floodplain. That's important because in 2019, the Missouri River flood did a heck of a lot of damage to Offutt. At any rate, these facilities include the big one, a 3-story, 420,000 square foot operation. It's a non-kinetic operations center, if you want to be specific, that will house intelligence, training, maintenance, and reconnaissance squadrons. And then there'll be a 5,000 square foot defense courier station building that will serve as a shipping and receiving facility. December of 2027 is completion.
Did they talk about anything getting torn down, or are they replacing buildings, or are they just adding?
I toured the base a couple years ago, and that whole southeast corner all was flooded, and there was a lot of the buildings down there that had to come down. I don't know whether they've already torn them down or if they're going to as part of this project, but there was a lot of stuff that needed to be removed.
Our own Brian Thomas at our office, who's a broker like I am, for 24 years he served this United States in the Air Force, and he was a command chief there, and he was all involved with that and got to meet President Trump, and they mastered through that whole process.
We'll have to ask Brian about some of the stuff, because while he was at Offutt as command chief, he also served as the base historian during that time. So he might know the answer to those questions about what buildings were removed. The city council has approved Forever North Real Estate's $72.5 million development at 24th and Lake Street. It will receive $9.5 million of tax increment financing. Great redevelopment project on the north side. There will be two buildings. One will face 24th Street. It will have 16,000 square feet of ground level commercial space, as well as 81,000 square feet of office space on the upper three floors. North End Teleservices will occupy the top two floors, pretty much put their whole operation there. And then the second building will be multifamily, 99 apartment units. Construction could begin as soon as this spring. And then, guys, how many professional volleyball teams is enough for a city of Omaha size?
Hopefully 2.
Answer is 2. Yeah, because we had already talked quite a bit about the Pro Volleyball Federation, pro women's volleyball team coming to Omaha. But now, this week, League One Volleyball out of Los Angeles announced that it will add Omaha to its current lineup of Salt Lake City, Atlanta, Houston, and Madison, Wisconsin. The Omaha team will start play after the 2024 Olympics in Paris.
So the other one, the Supernovas will have a head start on them.
Yeah.
And they're going to play at the CHI. I wonder where the other league's going to play.
To the best of my knowledge, that has not been divulged, and we will kind of wait and see. But we do love our volleyball around here.
Well, I think there's plenty of opportunities for young girls to get into volleyball, and certainly this is a hotbed for that sport. And I just hope that people give it a shot and try.
I'll go down and see some. I mean, I'm not buying season tickets or anything like that, but I'll definitely go to a match here or there.
It's cool to have our name on a list with some of those other cities, too.
Yeah, Houston, Salt Lake City, Atlanta. Those are obviously massive markets. The Iowa Department of Transportation, here we go. More new freeway access. Trenton, you'll be proud to know that I drove on the new Interstate 29 the very first day it was open.
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure you're not surprised. Brad, have you done it yet?
Not the whole thing, no.
Jeff will schedule
Brad!
trips around new freeway systems.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that speech in Cleveland because I-29 opens that day. But so I-29.
Nothing like the smell of fresh pavement.
Yeah, this smells pretty good, actually. I actually like the smell of concrete, but that's a whole nother problem that I have. But so I-29 had been closed just north and south of the 480 interchange for about a year and a half, all part of a $180 million complete rebuild of that interchange. Part of it's still not done, like the part where you're southbound 29 to westbound 480, that still has a ways to go, but the rest of it's done.
Such an improvement from what was there. And actually having an exit to Broadway now is much needed. It's just it was overdue.
Well, bring it
Very
home.
impressive.
By Lake Zorinsky, they're really going to town, widening that bridge, and from Center Street down to Q Street
On 168th.
They're going nuts.
Yeah. Impressive project.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.